Hello guys, in today's video I'm going to be going over the top things that I have learned about having a metal lathe in my possession for 1 full year. So it goes without saying, but I bought this thing roughly a year ago for about 2,200 bucks. Yeah, this one hurt my pocket quite a bit. But it has also been the most informative tool that I have ever had. Prior to having this metal lathe, I had zero experience with machining. Prior to this machine, I never even touched a metal lathe. So going out the gate with this size of a lathe was a big risk, but it was a risk that was calculated, and standing here 1 year later, I could honestly say that it has been the most beneficial tool that I have purchased. This tool is the biggest, not only financially, but also the most biggest physical tool that I have in my garage. It takes up a lot of floor space, but for what it is floor space well spent. So here we go. Top things that I've learned about having a metal lathe. Number one is the power. This is a 220 outlet, and it draws quite a bit of power. This thing also has a lot of bells and whistles. Quite frankly, a lot of bells and whistles that I don't really use, but one day I will like to learn how to use them. Tools such as the threads per inch here, being able to create threads on pretty much any bar that you want. Haven't used that yet, but I will in the future. Yeah, it's good to know that I am able to do this. I didn't know it at the time of purchase, but this lathe is actually a gunsmithing lathe. This model, you can't really see it because of so much usage when you're, pressing the inch. I guess the prior user, was rubbing up against the little emblem here. So yeah, you can't really see it, but I do have the manual for it. But anyways, this is a gunsmithing lathe. The tolerances and the clearances that this could create is actually to the spec of gunsmithing. So, hypothetically speaking, I can make gun parts off of this. I'm not going to because I have no need for it, but it's good to know that I could do it. Another thing, fractions. Another thing that I learned is you gotta be good at fractions and decimals when you gotta use this thing, because thousandths and thousandths of an inch could make or break you on this thing. If you need it to be that specific on your parts, then you really have to know how to handle this machine. For the things that I use it for, I don't have to be that specific, but it doesn't hurt to learn. Drills. Drills are crazy expensive. This is my one and only drill that I bought after I got the lathe. This is a 1-inch drill here. Expensive stuff. Luckily I got this for 10 bucks at the local swap meet, but if you start to add it up, it's going to be quite a bit. I'm blanking out on what these things are called, but these are essentially the pieces that go right here on the clamp, so you could cut whatever it is you want to cut. There's a lot of different variations, different styles, different pieces. Yeah, I was kind of overwhelmed when I got this because this is what the guy gave me. So haven't learned what all of them do, but slowly getting there. Also, chucks. They are crazy expensive. I didn't realize that the majority of a lathe's price is in the chuck. Yeah, the chucks that I've seen go up to like 600 to 1,000. It's crazy expensive. If you're wondering, this is a 6-inch chuck. This is what came with it. And the last thing that I've learned about having a metal lathe is how much I needed one. The majority of the time when I need this thing, it's because I can't find a specific part for either a go-kart, a buggy, or an engine. I'll give you an example. I recently got a Briggs & Stratton 10 horsepower engine that came off of a generator, and the clutches and the torque converters use only either 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch output diameter shaft. This engine, the Briggs & Stratton one that I bought, had like a wonky 1.5 or 1/4 of an inch output shaft, so I couldn't use any of the clutches. Couldn't even find one on Google with that weird spec. So without this metal lathe that I have, I wouldn't have been able to use that engine on a buggy. It was a great engine, has a lot of power. No issues with the engine whatsoever, but without this metal lathe, I wouldn't have been able to slap it on a go-kart and have fun with it. So, when I say that I barely use this machine, but when I do, it's great to have it, that's one example. Again, do I regret going with the biggest one out of the gate? No, not one bit whatsoever. Would I have liked to have a smaller lathe before this one? Probably, yeah. It would have been great to learn off of a smaller one, but at the end of the day, if I would have got the smaller one and then the big one, I would have been spending a lot more money, because, you know, the small ones go for like 500. So yeah, that's what I've learned about having a metal lathe for 1 year. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.